Last week, a doctor from Michigan State University named Larry Nassar was convicted of 10 counts of sexual assault against gymnasts. He really assaulted tons more than that, but he pled guilty to 10. And he got 75 to 150 years in prison, which basically says, the rest of your life. He should have got more, but I don't really know how much more you could have given him. But one of the things that happened is that his accusers got to get up in front of him and make statements. And it's actually only the first round because he's going to have to basically sit through another round of around 60 other women who are going to basically tell him what he did, even though he knows what he did. And what I found was interesting is the very first person who spoke was a young lady named Kylie Stephens. Now, she wasn't even a gymnast. What she was the little girl of parents who were friends of Larry Nassar, his wife, and his family. And he sexually assaulted her the first time when she was 6 years old. And he continued to do it pretty much through, well, at least 10 years. And she told her parents early on what he was doing, and they didn't believe her. Matter of fact, they just knew she was making it up because they were friends. They made her apologize to him. And then it continued and continued. And then when she got to be a teenager, she actually had to babysit Nassar's kids. The parents made her do that. And they didn't believe her until her 18th birthday, when she told them again what was going on. And around that time is when there started to be a little bit more coming out from other gymnasts about the behavior of this man. The thing is, it had been out there for a long time. I remembered hearing something about this a long time ago, but it got brushed under the rug, and no one did anything. Then, when it finally hit the roof, everybody started saying, well, I didn't know this and I didn't know that and whatever. But there was all this proof that had been out there. If I knew about it, and I like women's gymnastics, but I got to tell you the truth, I don't pay that kind of attention. But if I had heard about these things, they had to have heard about it. So at this point, it has cost the president of the university her job. It's cost the athletic director his job. There's coaches of football and basketball who are under investigation because players on their teams have been accused of sexual assault. So it doesn't have to do with the gymnasts. The head of the NCAA is actually being accused of knowing as early as 2010 that someone had said there was stuff going on, and he's saying it didn't happen, although it turns out there's written proof that this guy knew it. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, how do these people decide to just ignore all this noise and stuff that's going on and act like it didn't happen, and then they seem so surprised that everyone doesn't believe them? Of course we don't believe you. The Joe Paterno thing at Penn State with Jerry Sandusky, once again, there was a lot of people who said this guy did stuff. And when it finally came to light that it was true, there were a lot of people scrambling, including Joe Paterno scrambling. He lost his job. A lot of other people should have lost their jobs. The president of the university, I think he lost his job. And it points out something that says you just can't go around not believing what people are saying, especially if they're adults, but even if they're children. You've got to look into things. You can't ignore things and act like it didn't happen, and then when something fails, say, oh, geez, I didn't know about it, when there's proof that it happened. I just think it's a major leadership fail. And I've seen it happen in other industries. I've seen it happen in healthcare. I've seen it happen in banking. And there's always these people who are saying, well, I didn't know this, I didn't know this. You know what? You got this thing called a paper trail. Paper trail. It's just there. Good leaders are going to step to the fold, step up to the front, step to the plate, whatever phrase you want to use, and they're at least going to investigate. They're going to see if something is true or not. They're going to try their best. Now, it's harder, obviously, if you're accusing someone of something because it's a hearsay thing. One person saying it happened, another one says it didn't. But when it gets pervasive, you've got to say, you know what, there's more to this than meets the eye. And in this particular instance, how many hundreds of young women had to say this was happening? It should have, if it got to 3, for me, I got a problem. We've got to talk. Bad leadership. And when it's the leaders who are doing it, it's even worse. Roger Ailes, yeah, you're gone. But you know what? You know what happened. The money was there. It happened. This week, Steve Wynn of the casinos shows that he actually settled a sexual harassment suit. $7.5 million. Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons is back in my day. We're around the same age. Russell Simmons is now accused of all these things. And now he's being, I'll just say, excommunicated from an Oprah book because he had said all these things. People had, in general, looked up to this guy for a whole lot of things. Leaders, you have to do right by your people. You have to do right by your family. You have to do right by the children. If you're not doing right by them, you're not a leader at all. You're just someone who's hoping to get by and hoping to be able to lie later on and say, you didn't know. It's the wrong day and age. There's too many ways that people can prove that you knew something. You have to do something. That's your job. I'm calling you out. Anyway, my name is Mitch Mitchell. I hope the rest of you who are acting properly have a wonderful day. The rest of y'all, you better watch your back.